To further explain useRef hook, let's quickly set up an example of a clock timer application. So right within the useRef practice, let's quickly create a new component called timer. Right click, new file, timer.js. Generate the functional component. The intention of this lecture is to implement an interval timer that takes every second to display the value on the browser. To do that, first, we have to declare the variable to hold the interval value. So right at the top, of course by now, you should know how to do this. And here, we are going to declare the state variable, and we're going to call it timer. So we just have to make it a comma case over here. And the initial state is going to be 0. Let's quickly display the value of the timer right within the JSS. I'm going to use the h2 tag. And then here I'm going to do timer is the new value of the timer. Save. Let's quickly render it in the app component. And here we have to import timer from component / useRef practice / timer. And right below, let's render it over here. When you save the application, check out the browser, you see that timer is the initial state or the initial value of the timer. Go back to VS Code and let's quickly implement the timer. To set up the timer, we have to implement it right within the effect hook. So at the top, we have to import the effect hook. Come here. The effect hook is a function and then we have to invoke it. So this function takes in an arrow function as its first parameter. And as well, the second parameter is a dependency array. And in this case, we are going to have an empty dependency array. So right within the effect is where the transformation takes place. We are going to have const interval equal set interval. And again, we have to take in an arrow function. So right within this function, we have to update the timer. And we do that by calling the setter function for the timer. And right within, we are going to take in the previous timer. Then previous timer plus 1. That's simple as that. And we want this to be displayed on the browser every second. So right here, we are going to place a comma here and then induce it over here. Having done this, we have to implement a return function to clear the interval. Return. And here I'm going to do clear interval. We have to pass in interval. When you save and check out the browser, can you see? The major challenge we have in this lecture is to clear off the timer when the button is clicked. So let's quickly implement a button to carry out that functionality. We have to specify the on click. So on click of this button, we want to clear off the timer. Alright, let's do that and see how it goes. We're going to call the clear interval and then pass in interval. And here, within the inner test, I'm going to do clear timer. When you save and check out the browser, do you see? It says interval is not defined. You know why? Go back to VS Code and let me show you. It is simply because the variable interval is locally scoped only to the effect hook. So when you do this, the interval can only be cleared right within the effect hook. We want to clear the interval when the button is clicked. And immediately we implemented the button, look what happens. It says the variable interval of which we passed in over here is not defined. But look, we defined it over here at line 7. So this simply means that this interval can only be seen right within the effect hook. To solve this problem, we have to make use of useRef hooks. Take note, useRef can also be used to store a mutable value that does not cause a re-render when updated. And again, the useRef is a function, so we have to invoke it as usual. But first, it has to be imported at the top. And here at the top, we are going to invoke the useRef. And now we are going to do const ref interval. Assign it like this. So the next in line is to replace all the occurrences of interval with ref.current. Come here, we have to wipe off this variable. And then I'm going to do ref interval dot current. It's as simple as that. And remember that we have to replace all the occurrences of interval. And here we have one over here that is passed in to the clear interval method. Replace it like this. And here we have another one. When you save the application, let's check out the browser. Let's give it a try by clicking the clear timer button. Take a look. Now we have succeeded in clearing the timer. So when we click on this button, the interval will be cleared and then the timer will stop. So this is another problem that the useRef solves.